I think that we had a pretty steady phase 4, but I'm ready for things to ramp up with phase 5, and it's going to start with Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantum Mania, praying Scott Lang doesn't die. Hey everyone, welcome back to Canon Cinema. I'm Amanda, otherwise known as AMX NDA Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. Today I will be ranking Marvel's Phase 4. I know, it's about damn time. That's some hot takes. This is gonna be hard. You guys know how I feel about Phase 4. We went on a journey together last year as it started with Disney Plus streaming, with the shows and the movies coming together. We're gonna go from the bottom to the top as we normally do. So I gotta start off with, oh God, I'm starting off with She-Hulk at number 16. I really wanted to like this show, guys. I really did. I wanted to like it so much because women, Tatiana Maslany, Canadian, like just, I wanted to love it so much, but the humor in this like legal comedy just did not work for me. I just could not get behind this. I did not like Titania at all as a villain. I don't think they integrated her quite well. The Hulk King situation was also kind of weird. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. The only episode that I really loved was when Daredevil popped up, because I thought Matt Murdock and Jennifer Walters had a bomb chemistry, just like fantastic chemistry. I love them together. I want to see more of them, and I'm pretty sure we will. But I just think that Tatiana was up here where everybody else was like down in this area, which isn't good because she's carrying the entire show on her back, and you don't have structure to these episodes. I personally don't think that. There's a storyline within the episode 100%, because that's what a legal comedy does, but you also do have to have an overarching story, and I don't think that the direction for the overarching story for the entire season worked whatsoever. People were popping in and out. Storylines were like cast aside until they came back again to like wrap up in the finale. I just didn't like it. I didn't mesh well with it. I think the writing was really weak. It was too like geared towards the Twitter audience, and you could tell in regards to the writing, it just felt too like 2022 on Twitter. Like, this is what the fans would literally write in a script. That's what it felt like, and I just couldn't stomach it. I'm sorry. So She-Hulk's coming in at 16. The most controversial take that I've had last year was that Eternals wasn't that great. That is coming in at 15. I know, you guys know how I feel about Eternals. I'm not going to like dwell on it, but it is at the bottom for phase 4 for me. I didn't connect as much as I wanted to connect. Again, okay, Chloe Zhao is a fantastic director. She's an incredible filmmaker. And she did ground these characters. These are gods, and she grounded them in humanity upon centuries and centuries. And I think that is the best thing that she did. But there are clashing ideas, because Chloe Zhao has her own style, but she also has to incorporate the Marvel type of formula. And I think that's where it clashed. I think Chloe Zhao could have made a beautiful film if it wasn't in the Marvel universe. I don't know what that says. It's very different, 100%. It doesn't feel like a Marvel movie, which is also good. So that means her style kind of overpowered what a Marvel movie would essentially be. But in the grand scheme of things, when are we seeing the Eternals again? That is what I'm having a hard time understanding within phase 4. There's a lot of setup, which is going to lead me into my number 14 spot of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. A lot of setup in Doctor Strange. Even in regards to what happened with Wanda and the Scarlet Witch, I think that I loved her as a villain. I loved what had happened with her. I think that she is not completely gone. She's not gone. But we have our post-credit scene with Charlize Theron, and it's like, well, when is that going to come to fruition? Where is Doctor Strange 3 coming in? What are we doing? Right? So that's another setup. So I feel like I'm watching all of these films to set up a, bigger universe and like a third installment, which I'm not going to get in 5 to 6 years from now. It's hard to like stay connected to these characters then after a while, Because then you have to go back and watch them and be like, oh, this is what I remember, but yada, yada, yada. But that's also like exhausting. At the same time, it's exhausting. I love that we had Sam Raimi direct Multiverse of Madness. That felt very Sam Raimi. And that brought a smile to my face. But the story, again, from Multiverse of Madness, just, it wasn't there for me. Did not work. Too much going on. It was all over the place. America Chavez should have had a better storyline, a better introduction. I think she was cast aside in this film, and she was just like, oh my god, I can help, but then she doesn't know how her powers work, which I didn't understand either. I get it. Maybe I'm tired of all of these introductions. Make them just have their powers. I'm tired of like, I don't know what to do. But you do. Let's get to a point where you do. I don't need to see people learning their powers unless I have absolutely no idea what they're capable of. Like, if you have a power set like America Chavez, get to the point faster. Let's get to the point faster. I can't have it like, oh, this is the origin story. We have to start from scratch with certain characters. No. They have monster powers, like literally can destroy things in a galaxy in a single snap type of situation. Put them at the height of their power. That's more interesting to me. Coming in at the 13th spot is the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. I didn't do a review for this one just because I had some... It was a really tough couple of weeks for me that I wouldn't be able to get the review out for you guys. But the Guardians Holiday Special felt empty to me. And it was fun because of Drax and Mantis. I kind of like the tag team. I like that they finally brought Kevin Bacon into the universe for Peter Quill. I understand it. This is kind of like a bridge to Volume 3. I understand it. I feel like these characters are exhausted. And I think that the way that they have placed the trilogy, especially waiting on Volume 3 this long, especially after Gamora died, I just think that the stretch from Volume 2 to Volume 3 is way too long. And it's not like I don't care about the Guardians. That's not what I'm saying. I just want them to be on screen again and to have a conclusion, because there's not much more growth that you can do with these characters. There really isn't. So where are these characters going to go after Volume 3? That's the thing. So I'm very excited to see what happens with Rocket. I think Rocket is the most underappreciated Marvel character, and I love him a lot. So I know that Volume 3 is going to be right in the feels. But this holiday special was a bit weak for me. I didn't laugh like I normally do. I think that the humor in the Guardians, it's getting stale for me. Coming in at 12th spot is actually Hawkeye. Again, these Christmas-centric shows, specials, whatever you want to call it, I don't know why they're at the bottom of my list, but they are. Hawkeye, as I've said, it's a very generic, by-the-numbers, ground-level superhero show. I can say the same thing about Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but I'm more connected to those characters. And I think that, again, like, as I've said in majority of my reviews, is that if you're connected to these characters, you're going to enjoy their shows more so than the others. And with Hawkeye, I loved Kate Bishop. I thought Haley Steinfeld was fantastic. Way too many cameos in Hawkeye for anyone to care about Clint Barton, and I think that's where they missed the bill. However, I do like that Clint kind of deals with his grief. They brought in, his hearing, which is really important. They should have done that a long time ago, but I understand the build up to that as well. I loved that Florence Pugh is in this. Florence and Haley had a great chemistry. I need Yelena in literally everything. So I loved her. But unfortunately, Hawkeye is still bottom of the barrel for me out of Phase 4. Coming in at number 11, I have Loki. I know. Putting it in like a Phase 4 ranking, and I'm like, Loki's that low? What's wrong with me? It is, because the first half of that show was intriguing. Episode 3, I'll never forget that it was called Lamentus, and it was weak. It was hard to get through that. But then it picked up in the second half. But that doesn't mean that it's a well-rounded series at the same time, because if I'm struggling in the first half, you can get me in the second half. Like, that's something that I can't really gauge, because it has to be consistently good for each episode. You know what I mean? So I love Jonathan Majors in the end. That finale was fantastic. I love the finale so much. But here's the thing. The reason why Loki is that low is the fact that no other film and no other show has even brought up the fact that that happened in the finale of Loki. Are we just never going to address that shit? Like, when are we going to address that? No other show has talked about it. So if they're going to discuss it in season 2, and I've been an idiot this whole time because they're like, they didn't bring it up in other, like, you know, in other movies, then sure. But come on. You're talking about the grand scale of this universe. That happens in the finale of Loki. You don't talk about it at all. So hopefully season 2, they wrap like certain things up, because I was very disappointed with that. I really was. Coming in at number 10, I have WandaVision. At least it made the top 10, guys. At least it made the top 10. I am sorry. I am so sorry that I did not like WandaVision as much as I wanted to. I thought the beginning, the first 4 episodes, stellar. Absolutely fantastic. Fizzled out so fast. It wasn't even based off like my own expectations. And it was the first show that came out on Disney Plus, but I just did not vibe with it. There were a lot of questionable things that happened. I will never forgive them for Ralph Boner. Because first of all, Pietro Maximoff deserves better, Wanda deserves better, and freaking Evan Peters deserves better, because he loved that character and he was so good as that character in the X-Men franchise. So I just think that was kind of annoying. I was annoyed with that. There's a lot of things in the show that annoyed me. I think they showed the grief extremely well with Wanda. That's the one thing that I will give WandaVision credit for. It's very different. I like that they had the sitcom feel. As I said, the first half was way better than the second half. The finale was so lackluster. It really was. But again, that had to deal with COVID. But you guys know how I feel about WandaVision. This is just like a little side review of it. Coming in at number 9, I actually have Black Widow. I enjoyed Black Widow. 10 years overdue, but I really enjoyed Black Widow. The more I talked about it, the more I enjoyed it. I think that the CGI, it was so bad. And I just think that's the only thing that didn't work. Taskmaster was a very weak villain, and Taskmaster is not considered to be a weak villain. That's what bothers me. There's so much that they can do with Taskmaster, and it just, how do you just throw the character away like that? I don't know how they threw it away, and I didn't like that. I think this was the best version of Natasha Romanoff. Again, we get an introduction to Yelena Belova. I thought David Arbor and Rachel Weisz were fantastic in this as well. It's a great family unit that we got to see, a different family unit, but I'm just glad that we got to give Nat the proper send-off, considering that I still don't like the choice of what happened in Endgame whatsoever. It was so bad. Anyways, yeah, that's Black Widow for me. Coming in at number 8, I actually have Thor: Love and Thunder. I do. I liked it. I don't know. People really were crapping on Taika Waititi's Thor: Love and Thunder. I did not like Ragnarok. So I don't know. I don't know where it switched. The fact that I like Love and Thunder more than Ragnarok, I don't know what's happening here. I think it was the romantic aspect. I'm a sucker for a good rom-com, and I think that they incorporated that quite well in this. I also like the father-daughter relationship. There was a lot that is very personal to me that I look for in films, and I think that they wrote this literally just for me at this point. The Guns N' Roses soundtrack, God bless your souls, fam, because GNR, again, soft spot. So all of that, so many factors that came into play with Thor: Love and Thunder. Absolutely love Jane Foster. I love her as the mighty Thor. Natalie Portman coming back was really special, and I love the send-off that they gave her. Tessa Thompson is absolutely incredible in this as well. Again, it comes down to humor. If you found this funny, you found it dumb, it's all about preference and subjectivity, and comedy is personal. That's all I'm going to say. Coming in at number 7, I have Michael Giacchino's Werewolf by Night, which I love. This. It was an old-fashioned monster movie. Love the creature design. Love the editing. Love the lighting. Just the camera work in this was really well done. I love the shadows. The shadows really made this. I think that they did a great job with it. It was more violent, but you could see it within the shadows, and I think that's one of my favorite things about Werewolf by Night that they do. I really love the score of this as well. Obviously, it's Michael Giacchino, so it makes complete sense. I just loved everything about this. It's really fresh. And I think if we do more of these like one-off special presentations, there's so many characters that you can bring in. And I really want more of these. Of course, like the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, as much as I didn't like it, I still want to see more one-offs of these characters because I think that that would be beneficial to the brand as well as a special presentation instead of like, let's put so-and-so in this big ass movie, but it's not a character that people will necessarily vibe or lean towards. So I think that if you get these smaller heroes that nobody really knows of and introduce them through a special presentation, because then maybe you can incorporate them in another way later on if people are buzzing over certain characters. So I think that that's really special. Coming in at number 6, I have Black Panther Wakanda Forever. I have so many issues with Wakanda Forever, but I think that they made the best movie possible to make everyone happy while still grieving the loss of Chadwick Boseman. There's some choices that I completely disagree with, and that's the entire third act of this movie, but leading up to it, I think that they really just gave a fantastic tribute to Chadwick Boseman. You could really see the pain and the emotion come out with every single actor in this film, and it felt like such a love letter to him. I love the introduction of the Talokan. Tenoch Huerta was really strong. I really hope that we get to see more, but I love the underwater exploration. I think that the world was beautiful to kind of change Wakanda and then develop an entire like underworld at the same time. Like Ryan Coogler, man, the dedication to this movie. I'm just so happy for him. But yeah, it's sitting in my number 6 spot, which isn't too bad. Now I'm going to head into my top 5. My top 5 has changed a bit considering what came out this year, and I'm really happy about it. So in my 5th spot, of course, I have The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Sorry, Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Okay? Yes, you guys know how much I love that series just because I love Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan. The Captain America world is just something so near and dear to my heart that they could do literally anything and I will be on board with it. So that's in my 5th spot. I know that the show is really wonky. It's a mess. I understand it. But there are certain moments in certain episodes, like the John Walker shield with the blood on it, that has haunted my dreams, to be perfectly honest, because I never expected that whatsoever. So Falcon and the Winter Soldier is in like my top 5. In 4th spot, I have Miss Marvel. Another Iman Vellani Canadian. Yay. My girl. She's absolutely fantastic as Kamala Khan. I adore her. She had such a wholesome family unit, and I did think that it was a bit overstuffed, but that's because they're trying to introduce so many things to this world and set her up, and it was a lot of exposition in the second half of this, but I loved the style of this. I love the style of Miss Marvel, and I think that's why I enjoyed it so much. And I'm excited to see the Marvels. I really am, to see her with Brie and Teyana Paris. I think that it's going to be really special. And with Nia DaCosta directing, I think we're going to get something really special for that. Coming in at number 3, I have Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. By far, one of the best origin stories in the MCU. The fight choreography, exquisite. The cinematography was really strong as well. I liked the VFX. I liked the third act battle with the dragons. I didn't mind that. But, Simu Liu, again, Canadian. Love him. I think that he did a really good job as Shang-Chi. I just loved everything about it. Michelle Yeoh, the queen that she is, that she's in that. I just want to see more. I want to see more. And the fact that Tony Leung in one movie as Wenwu solidified his spot as a villain and literally top 3 villains in the MCU, I think is incredible. It's so good. It's a heartfelt story, really powerful story, and I just loved it. I love Shang-Chi. So coming in at number 2, I obviously have Moon Knight. If it wasn't for Oscar Isaac, I probably wouldn't have it this high, but he made the show. He carried the show on his back. He played 2 different characters, and I absolutely adore this costume. This Moon Knight costume is absolutely gorgeous. One of the most gorgeous MCU costumes. And even though The show did have its faults. Okay, you just went with the flow of the series. I didn't question it. Even Ethan Hawke was absolutely fantastic in this. I loved Khonshu as well. F. Murray Abraham's voice is iconic, and I think that the banter with Khonshu and Moon Knight and Khonshu and Mr. Knight, and then, it was just a lot of fun. It's very fun, but it's also really sad at the same time, and it's heartbreaking. The 5th episode, I will never forget, absolutely destroyed me. I was sobbing because it was just so heartbreaking to get to the point of where we kind of understand who he is, who Steven, who Mark, who, Moon Knight is. And I think that it's devastating. It's absolutely devastating. And I think the only person that could have delivered it as beautifully and organically as that is Oscar Isaac. So I think that the reason why Moon Knight's like second for me is that it's incredibly unique. The character's well written. Moon Knight's more character driven, and I think that's why I enjoyed it as much as I did with Oscar Isaac in it, and I want to see more of him. We can't just like end it with one season. We can't. We need to see more. So that's my second spot. And of course, coming in at number 1, it is Spider-Man No Way Home. There's no way that Spidey's not number 1 on everyone's list. That movie is one of the most special Spider-Man films and comic book films in general. It's iconic. The ballsiness of putting all 3 of them in this movie with a storyline that actually really works for Peter Parker. And I loved everything about it. I always complain that, why don't we have a Ben Parker? Why don't we have a Ben Parker? And in this case, in this universe, we didn't need a Ben Parker. We had a May Parker. And her death propels him forward to become Spider-Man. But I'm excited to see more of Tom Holland whenever he decides to come back. I know that it took a toll on him. He needs some time. He does. We can get to the college years later on. He's still going to look like a young pup regardless. So it's going to be fine. But No Way Home is one of the best Marvel movies ever. It really is. And it's in my top spot for that reason. Nothing will ever compare. I don't care who comes in. Okay? Nothing will ever compare to seeing Tobey Maguire coming out of a dimension and Andrew Garfield coming out of a dimension. That scene with Ned was just mind-blowingly amazing that it still makes me emotional, and it brings tears to my eyes because it was just one of the best moments to share with an audience, because there are Spideys. They mean so much to us, especially Tobey for being like my entire childhood. It was really freaking special. So I know that I have some very controversial opinions. So let me know where you guys rank these films. Let me know if you disagree with some of my placements. I'm pretty sure many of you will, but I want to know like your top 3. Just give me your top 3 films from Phase 4. I think that we had a pretty steady Phase 4, but I'm ready for things to ramp up with Phase 5, and it's going to start with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, praying Scott Lang doesn't die. Okay, let's prayer circle. He doesn't die. But if you guys enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. You can always follow me over at AMX NDA Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. I'll catch you guys next time. Keep watching movies.